This student dormitory on 100th Street in Chicago holds the most disturbing secret. 8 student nurses were found murdered inside after neighbors heard screaming from the house, alerted by a 9th nurse who somehow was still alive. Corazon Amaral was one of many living the new American dream during the post-war economic boom of the 50s and 60s. Corazon moved to Chicago only 3 months earlier in May 1966 as part of a nursing exchange program and became a member of staff at the South Chicago Community Hospital. On July 13, 1966, 10:30 p.m., Corazon hears a knock on her bedroom door. As she opens the door, however, the first thing she sees is an intruder holding a gun. It doesn't take long for the intruder to round up the 6 nurses at home and gather them in an upstairs bedroom. One by one, he ties the hands and feet of all 6 women. The man demands silence, but they can all hear someone else entering the house and turning to make their way up the stairs. As the door opens and the intruder takes control of a 7th nurse, and the nurse's worst fears are confirmed when 2 more housemates arrive back at the townhouse, and instead of restraining them like the others, the intruder forces them both into another room. Whatever is happening out there, the man takes his time to clean up before returning, and when he does, he takes yet another nurse. This time when the man returns, he has to drag his next victim from under a bed. Only 2 are left, and without searching for the 9th and final nurse, the intruder leaves. 5:30 a.m., the first alarm in the house goes off. Corazon crawls out from under the bed, crosses the room silently, and opens the door. What she sees confirms her worst fears. She is the only one alive. It becomes her mission to make sure the man who did this is brought to justice. She is able to provide them with a detailed physical description of the intruder. An abundance of fingerprints are also found, over 30 being from the killer. But in 1966, each print would have to be matched by hand to those of the suspect, a suspect that still eludes the police. Police start the search across the street from the scene at the National Maritime Union Hiring Hall. Incredibly, they find a photo of a member with a striking resemblance to the sketch. Corazon confirms the photo is of the same man she saw that night. After only 1 day, the Chicago police have a suspect, Richard Speck. For years, he has been on the run and has a criminal history, including 41 arrests in Dallas, Texas. In fact, it's this criminal history and Corazon's identification that allows Chicago police to match a few of the fingerprints found at 2319 East 100th to the fingerprints in Speck's Dallas file. It's not until 3 days after the killings that a lead presents itself. A man is recovering after trying to take his own life with the glass from a broken bottle. Running his fingerprints will take time, so the police ask Corazon to do something unimaginable. They need her to make a positive identification in person. Against all odds, Corazon agrees, and Corazon is forced to confront the man that may have killed 8 of her friends, all on her own. And after looking into the eyes of the man in the hospital bed, she knows it's the same man. Having the confirmation they needed, Chicago police arrest Richard Speck. April 3rd, 1967. The trial begins in Peoria, Illinois. When Corazon is finally able to take the stand, she does something that shocks the court.
You see in the courtroom today that man who came to your door on the night of July 13th. Corazon quietly stood up, walked directly over to the defense table, and within inches of his forehead, pointed and said in an unshakably clear voice, "This is the man."
April 15th, 1967. The trial of Richard Speck wraps up, and after less than an hour, the jury returns a verdict: guilty on all charges. Richard Speck is sentenced to death, and with the help of her family, she was able to put the trauma of her past behind her. She remembers every day that life is a precious gift, and to live life to the fullest. I want to be happy all the time. Life is too short. Every time I wake up in the morning, I thank God that I am still alive.